So, what goes on here in this space? I mean,
Here?
yeah, it's part gallery.
I can't talk about that. No, most of the time it's just me here, and then, you know, Bobby comes down a lot when he's here. In fact, he's fixing to go back to New York, and I'm going to keep his cat for him while he's gone. He always says to me, if you ever tell anybody how old you are, I'll kill you. You know, just because I'm hanging around you, they'll think I'm almost that old, or your age. He's so funny. But I love him dearly. He's my best friend in the whole wide world. Because I'm colorblind.
You are?
Yeah, in a fashion. I can't, blues and navies and browns and greens, you know, just, and sometimes even yellows and reds like the traffic lights, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I know that the red,
right,
yellow, and green,
right,
sometimes, but if it's a flashing yellow light or red light, I'm like, what is that? So I'm very cautious when I go up to it. But I didn't even know I was colorblind until I started working at Foley's, and they said, I want you to go down and check these color swatches with these colors. Well, there were pastel colors, and I went down there, and I was like, oh my God, I can't tell the difference. And I came back up, and I said, I think these are right, but I said, you know, I'm kind of colorblind, and my boss said, you're kidding me. They just hired me, you know, to do that. I said, well, I didn't even know it till like 2 years ago. I didn't even know I was colorblind.
But you paint in pastel.
I do a lot, but a lot of my work is very vibrant.
Right.
Because when I went to school in Arkansas, I was in a wreck, and I got $10,000 from the wreck, so I decided to go back to school. I looked at the University of Texas. I looked at the Art Institute in Houston, and then my grandmother lived in Arkansas, Fayetteville, right where the college is. And I said, well, I'll go visit her and go check it out. Well, I met this man there that had been to Art Center in Pasadena, California, where I was accepted and went to school. And he's the only person that looked at my portfolio and said, I can help you. He taught me, because I didn't understand how color works, see. He taught me the basic principles of how color works. Once I understood that you have your primary colors, and then you have, you have blue and red. Let's see, CMYK. Magenta. See, in the printing world, it's CMYK. Right. C is for cyan, Y is for yellow, M is for magenta, which is really pink, it's not really red, and K, which is black. Well, the computer is RGB. You don't see CMYK colors on the computer, you see RGB, and it's lit from behind, so you're seeing red, green, and black. But somehow, I don't know how you can get yellow out of that. But anyway. So I learned that orange and blue were complements, and that when you paint orange and blue, blue goes back and orange comes forward. Red and green, which is like Christmas, green goes back, red comes forward. Purple and yellow are complements. Purple goes back and yellow comes forward. So once I understood the principles of it, then I just exploded. I love to do logos. I wish I could just go to work for a company that did logos only, because I love to do logos. They're very challenging, and so I've done a couple of those for some people lately, like
can you show me some?
Brascourt Plumbing and Heating, and this is Coastal Aerobics Systems.
Put it down a little bit, come down.
They do septic systems and all that kind of stuff.
I love it.
But somehow these two people are related. So anyway, I get off the subject a lot. So when I paint, I do it over there.
Okay.
And I've had this friend that I've been painting with lately, and I don't do that with people.
Because you don't paint very much anymore.
Right. But I don't like to paint with an audience, so to speak. Neither does Bobby. You know what I mean? I mean, I don't like, because I'm in my own world there. I paint to music. I listen to a lot of classical music. I listen to the ambient station, one of the stations on iTunes. There's a ton of ambient stations, and one of my favorites is called Lounge FM, and it's from Paris, but they play all this really cool music.
Oh, cool.
And so I paint, because the when I begin to paint, I don't always have something in mind. I just start painting, and the music will direct me or move me as it gets the crescendo or whatever. Maybe my brush goes, you know, and when it softens up, I'm a little more. So I don't like say, okay, I'm going to do a barn. You know, well, take a picture of a barn if you want a barn. So I have done one barn. I did it on purpose when we had a reunion up in Arkansas. Yes, I'm from Arkansas, and but I don't think I'm inbred. So we went to a reunion in Magazine, Arkansas, and there was a barn there, and I said, I'm gonna paint that barn.
So did you paint like
I painted the barn in watercolor. It's realistic, but to me, it's like, okay, a barn usually is pretty much old wood. There's not really a whole lot of color to it. It's pretty blasé. So why does a tree have to be brown and green? Why can't it be blue and orange? You know, why does it have to be what it is? So that's where I try to go out of the box, and which I am pretty much out of the box in everything I do. So, but like I said, once I learned about color, you know, and I tried to teach my students when I taught out at the college, I said, you know, don't get caught up in this, it's got to look like it. Because I love to do blind contour drawing where you just look at something, you don't even look at the paper and just draw it. And so when I teach a workshop in watercolor.
So do you teach workshops here?
I have done that.
Do you plan on doing it in the future?
Yeah, I would like to do that again. Now, in that case, I don't mind doing a demo for them.
Right.
But to paint with them. And I don't touch their art. I think that is just forbidden, to touch their art, to do something. Because then it becomes mine and theirs, not just theirs. And so what I'll do is I'll have them close their eyes and put their pencil down on the watercolor paper. And I say, you cannot look. And I'll say, all right, I want you to draw a brick. You know a brick is a rectangle with 3 holes in it. And I don't want you to be like, draw this little bitty brick on this big. I said, if you go off the page, don't worry about it. Just try to keep your pencil on the page, or don't pick it up. I want you to come back. And then I'll say, okay, well, do an eye. It could be a cat's eye. It could be, you know, an eye is nothing but an oval and a circle. Really. A tree is nothing but a square and a circle, you know. I mean, a rectangle and a circle. So, don't get so literal about everything. Like, okay, I've got to draw all these leaves and do. If you want to do something simple, that's where graphic design comes into things. You try to simplify things to make them graphic instead of, they're still art, and they can still be fine art, but they're not. I don't consider graphic design fine art, but some of it is. I consider more of this as more fine art. My graphic design is very, you know, I have to do it for people, and so I have to do what they want. It doesn't mean I like it much, but that's how I make my money.
Right.
And I do it, and I do enjoy it. But, so when I do paint, I put on music, and I just start. And whatever happens, happens. One day I was driving in my Volkswagen Beetle, I remember, going down 2nd Street. I heard this beautiful music because I was listening to the classical station. And I had to pull over to the side of the road so I would make sure I got what it was.
I've done that.
And I used to listen to that music like at North Texas when I went to school there. I'd go play a tennis match in a tournament or something.
That's right, you're a tennis person.
And I would go listen to that piece before I'd go to my match to settle, calm my mind. And so I've always wanted to do a painting to that.
Oh.
So I did this painting to that piece. Finally.
Wow.
And
is that one of your favorites?
it's one of my favorites. My mother hates it. She goes, oh, I wasn't very impressed with that. But she wasn't very impressed with the hands either when she saw them, when I got it framed.
The one that just won the award at the college?
Yeah, and it was
People's
here
Choice
hanging
Award?
on my wall before I gave it to the guy, the masseuse that I was telling you about, that helped me do the hands and
Right.
stuff. I gave him one.
Run
It
over
was
that
framed.
process again.
Well, I asked the
And how did you
massage
come up with
therapist how to come up with it.
Yeah.
Well, I just thought, oh, wouldn't this be cool for the massage therapist to put his hands down on a piece of paper, and I would trace his hands. And then after he was done with the massage, he would have oils on his hands. And I said, okay, now that you're done, put your hands exactly where I had them traced. And then from that, I scanned it on the scanner, and you picked up the oil. You saw it a little bit on the drawing, but when you picked it up in Photoshop, you scan it, it picks up things that maybe you wouldn't normally see.
Mm-hmm.
And then I inversed it, and it became this beautiful blue. It was almost like an X-ray.
Because it became blue because you colored it blue?
Because I inversed it from white. Oh. And because of the color of the paper, because it wasn't pure white, somehow
that color just came out?
That color came up, and I enhanced it somewhat. But then I put a lens flare into it that made this, a lens flare is like, for those of you that don't know that, like the sun. In the sun you see in a movie, you'll see how the sun sparkles and has a ray, a round circle, like going behind someone's head, or you see this really pretty. So that's a lens flare. And you can make that lens flare do different things. You can make it bigger or smaller. And so I did that, and then I had it framed, and I was going to give him the other print, but I decided to give him the framed piece. But it was on my wall, and when my mother saw it, she said, "Wow, you just really got it."
Tell us about the award.
Well, it was called the People's Choice Award, which means that the public, it's up for a period of time, and people come in, and they can pick 2 pieces that are up. And from that, they get first, second, third, and honorable mention. Well, because it was the public that voted on it, I must have had more votes than anybody total. So I got first place.
Cool.
But I didn't have a clue that would happen. I knew it was an impressive piece because I really dug it. I thought, this is really cool. Just because of the whole process. So I had written a sheet on the process behind and put it on the back of the painting. But no one saw that. But then they had another show that came in, and they wanted to keep the winners of the People's Choice up. And so I took that piece of paper on the back and put it in a little plastic holder so that people could see how that process happened. My passion is fine art. And I've tried clay, and, I'd love to do metal sculpture. I think that would be cool. With a torch, you get all butch, and, But that's probably not going to happen for a while.
Well, you've got a great space outside to work with.
I don't have a garage. Not anybody. Bobby, mother's always said to him, you're just nobody if you don't have a garage. Yeah, you pretty funny boy, aren't you?